The excavator worker chiseled out a huge rock. He was so happy that he immediately threw the rock down to check it. The excavator was working very hard. But somehow, due to his bad luck or some spiritual force, a huge block of rock suddenly fell down and crushed a $1 billion car parked below. So he had to pay a very bitter $1 billion compensation.
It must be said that using machine technology to dig and shape a ditch like this is extremely fast, efficient and very beautiful, right? Using an excavator to dig this ditch in 1 hour is equal to the manual effort of 100 people in a day. All the male excavator drivers were amazed and talked about it when they witnessed a female driver controlling the bucket to install a chain for her excavator. She controlled the bucket with each movement very rhythmically and skillfully, putting the chain in the right position in just a few minutes, making everyone present at the construction site admire her skillful skills. The crane driver was too subjective about balance and gravity when he wanted to lift and move the rather heavy excavator to the top of the mountain.
Although this excavator has been used for quarrying for many years, the owner of the excavator still wanted to test the durability and quality of the manufacturer. So he let the excavator fall freely like this.
The driver was driving a tractor and carrying an excavator. He was driving on the left side of the road because he saw an oncoming vehicle approaching. So he didn't have time to turn to the right lane. I don't understand why the tractor was carrying a very bulky excavator. But the driver of the 5-seater car couldn't see the tractor.
A unique wedding of an excavator driver. When he used his excavator, his daily means of earning a living, to make a wedding car on his big wedding day.
When the farmer combined his plow into a tractor to serve the needs of agricultural production more effectively and increase income, it seemed that he was overloading it.
This video shows us that, in addition to manual labor, we need to have knowledge to be creative in our work. For example, this worker who works on concrete sewers, even if he works for a whole month, he still doesn't have enough money to pay the contractor. This road helps drivers test their own driving skills and abilities. It also helps tractor drivers improve their driving skills. This road helps drivers test their own driving skills and abilities. It also helps tractor drivers improve their driving skills. This was the end for the driver who parked his car right next to the fire hydrant. So in an emergency, the firefighters had to break the car window to pump water to put out the fire in time. The container truck drove close to the roadside and tilted as if it was about to fall. But the driver skillfully used his skills and experience to quickly regain balance. Can you turn your car around like this 7-seater car driver? He went into the garage to check his car, but seeing that the garage was too crowded, he turned his car around and left, making the customers, employees and security guards in the garage stand there and stare in amazement, because his turn was so classy. The truck driver had just reached the flooded road when he remembered the fortune teller's prediction that his truck could not enter the flooded road this month. So he quickly drove the truck onto the median strip to avoid bad luck. An extremely confusing situation for the driver of this 4-seater car, when he suddenly turned the car around and changed direction, making everyone confused and not understanding why.
The truck driver crossed the road too quickly, so he collided with a passenger bus that was going on the right side of the road. That was the result of speeding and reckless overtaking. So the truck driver had to spend a huge amount of money to compensate the owner of the passenger bus.
This truck driver was driving on a road in his home province. So he made a very cool act of reckless overtaking. This is called, the dog relies on its home, the chicken relies on its coop. Guys,
this small truck driver, due to his carelessness and miscalculation of the width of the train, parked his car a little too close to the tracks and left it there to wander around. Suddenly a train passed by, and the driver could only watch as his daily bread-earning car was damaged. Not knowing what to do,
A young man riding a motorbike was stopped at a red light when a girl driving a car came from behind. Wanting to get to know the handsome guy on the motorbike, the girl took the initiative to touch the guy's motorbike, and then they officially became friends.
Bus drivers who have driven through this muddy road once or many times surely have many unforgettable impressions and beautiful memories, because they love their job so much and are dedicated to their customers. No matter how muddy the road is, the drivers are still determined to take their customers to their destination and back safely. After a rain, this road was very slippery, even though the dump truck was carrying a very heavy load and the driver tried to control the vehicle. The vehicle kept drifting freely, making it impossible for the driver to control it. So the driver had to accept the situation and let it drift. The truck driver opened the door to get into the cabin but didn't notice. Suddenly a 5-seater car drove towards him and hit the truck door at a fairly high speed. The truck driver could only stand there and watch the 5-seater car without being able to do anything.
The road was jammed with many cars. But the driver of the 35-seat passenger van and the driver of the 7-seat car deliberately crossed the lane and tried to get in. Then, the back of the passenger van scraped the front of the 7-seat car and then drove away, causing the 7-seat car driver to chase after them to demand compensation. Only when there is a traffic jam can we know which drivers are conscious of traffic.
A red 5-Seat car was traveling on the highway when it suddenly stopped, causing the truck that was traveling right behind to not have time to react, resulting in the above traffic collision. In the last few months of the year, these tractors are scheduled to run at full capacity, because there was no time to rest. The tire of this tractor caught fire by itself, but the driver did not know. He saw that the road was empty, so he drove very fast. To shorten the time for each shipment, we had to chase after this tractor for a long time to catch up with this tractor, to inform this driver about the situation of the truck. This is the way of greeting of people who drive luxury cars. When you want to show off to a strong opponent, but you are wrong because you are not on the same level as them.
The driver of the 5-seater car parked the car next to the train tracks, then went to sit and drink, forgetting about the train's time. When the train was close to the car, the driver hurriedly ran back, but it was too late. After that, the driver just sat there looking at his belongings and blaming himself.
The bulky light cargo truck passed over a small bridge that was raised very high above the road surface. But the driver skillfully steered the vehicle over the bridge very safely. I sold the kumquat tree to the customer. The price was not only cheap, but the customer also asked me to deliver it to my house. I will give him some money for gas. The customer also said, the road to my house is easy to drive. Don't worry, luckily today I used a small truck, so I could go through this small road.
Excellent performance by a young man who loves simple, uncomplicated motorbikes. He only performs based on inspiration and only on roads with little traffic.
My best friend came to my house to show off his new motorbike. Get on the bike and I'll take you for a ride to change the air a bit. He said he was going for a ride, but he took me on a shortcut through a muddy forest road like this. Guys, also riding a motorbike, but this young man has a very different style of riding a motorbike from everyone else. He doesn't like to ride in circles, so he controls the motorbike to overcome obstacles to take a shortcut. Where is the road with the most sharp curves in the world? It is a 75 kilometers long road with hundreds of unique sharp curves in Xinjiang province, China. This road runs through the Kunlun Mountains, which are over 7,000 meters above sea level. Kunlun is also the third highest mountain on Earth. The expressway in Guizhou province, China, is one of the most modern expressways in China today. The special thing about this expressway is that the engineers designed the entire route to be located on the steep, rugged mountain slopes. The road has many convenient turning points. So drivers do not have to travel dozens of kilometers to find a turning point like previous expressways.
The whole group stood with their hands clasped in prayer, silently thanking God, because their convoy had stopped in time. Just a few seconds after the convoy stopped, suddenly half of the mountain collapsed very quickly right in front of everyone. So everyone had to exclaim because they were so lucky.
A giant boulder is stacked precariously on top of another boulder in Zhejiang, China. This boulder has been there for millions of years and it defies the laws of physics. This boulder has challenged many of the world's best physicists to come here to explore and study it. Close-up of a landslide on a national highway recorded by a dashcam. In just a few seconds, a huge mass of rock and soil fell down, burying and blocking the road, completely paralyzing it for a long time. Thousands of people eagerly checked in to see the icon of the seas. A giant cruise ship 5 times larger than the Titanic, with a length of 365 meters, a width of 65 meters, a height of 20 floors, a weight of 250.800 tons and a capacity of 7.600 passengers. The icon of the seas has a total of 2.805 cabins and requires 2.000 crew members to operate and control. Close-up of a cargo ship having an accident and sinking in an instant. This is something that people in the water freight transport business do not want. How do you feel when you see these fish trying to overcome themselves? This is a spillway with quite high discharge pipes installed. But thousands of fish flock to it, trying to jump up the pipes to swim upstream to the other side of the dam. Electric eels prefer to eat small fish, crabs, small birds and amphibians. The adult body of the electric eel can reach up to 2.4 meters long and weigh about 20 kilograms. Electric eels can paralyze prey dozens of times larger than themselves, with a huge electric current released from the eel's body. A passionate tackle between the player wearing the moss green shirt number 33 and the player wearing the blue shirt number 38 created a very romantic situation of caressing each other on the field, making thousands of fans who witnessed it gasp and whisper.
Excellent performance by a young man who loves simple, uncomplicated motorbikes. He only performs based on inspiration and only on roads with little traffic.
A Vietnamese woman is not only good at both public and private affairs, but she also has extraordinary abilities. She can carry a motorbike weighing more than 100 kilograms on her head, but she can still walk and dance very comfortably. This young man, one hand fixed to use as a measuring tape, the other hand he held professional tools to chop down to mark 100% genuine. To do so, he needed a long process of practice to have such a super skill.
The most humorous incident in history of a Chinese Peking opera actor. When the actor was performing an acrobatic act, suddenly his pants fell down, causing the audience sitting below to continuously clap, cheer and praise him. The two workers agreed to pay them piecework wages and they discussed with each other that the year was almost over. If they wanted to have a prosperous new year, they had to work quickly and work together well. As soon as they stopped talking, the opportunity slipped away from their hands.
The slippery areca trees were tall and straight, but for him climbing was very simple. Watching him swing from tree to tree so gently and gracefully, he said that he climbed like that every day. There were days when he picked hundreds of areca bunches and he still remembered very clearly how many trees he swung back and forth that day. This was not only a job to earn money to take care of his family, but it was also a special hobby of his. Do you think this is an oil or gas mine? At first it was just a normal small pond. But suddenly a strange phenomenon appeared, as you can see. On the surface of the water there are many air bubbles pushing up and accompanied by a very large fire.